Level 1. Crimson Hell. Welcome to Crimson Hell, the first level of Impel Down, home to the least infamous criminals. But don't let that fool you, this place is a nightmare crafted not from steel bars, but from nature itself. A vast forest stretches across the floor, filled with red trees called kenju, whose leaves are sharp as blades. Beneath your feet is haribariso, needle-like grass that stabs with every step. Prisoners are forced to run endlessly through this living torture chamber, chased by venomous spiders and merciless guards. Every inch of this forest is soaked in blood, turning the entire level a deep crimson. The pain is constant, the screams never fade, and the forest seems to feed on suffering. There's barely any need for walls. The forest itself is the cage. Deep within the forest lies a hole that leads to level 2. For some prisoners, the idea of escaping to a deeper level of hell seems more merciful than staying here, while level 2 is far worse. Level 2. Wild Beast Hell. Level 2 of Impel Down, known as the Wild Beast Hell, takes the suffering to a whole new level. If the first floor was a forest of pain, this one is a living nightmare, full of giant bloodthirsty monsters. Here, prisoners are thrown into massive open areas where wild beasts roam freely. These aren't just any animals, they're colossal, mutated, and bred for cruelty. Creatures like the basilisk and the sphinx, a lion-faced monster that hates anything it can't understand, hunt down prisoners like toys. There's no hiding here, no escape. The guards don't need to do much because the monsters do the dirty work. The screams of inmates echo through the level, but they're quickly silenced by roars and bone-crushing violence. The goal of this level isn't just to hold prisoners, it's to break their minds. You don't wait out your sentence here, you run, hide, and beg to survive the next 10 minutes. The fear is constant, the tension unbearable. Prisoners that survive long enough might find the staircase to level 3, but after facing monsters like these, most aren't in any shape to continue. Level 3. Starvation Hell. Level 3 of Impel Down is known as Starvation Hell, and for good reason. Here, the torture shifts from physical brutality to slow, crushing deprivation. This level is scorching hot, with intense heat that dries your mouth and drains your strength. The air feels like it's burning your lungs, and the stone floors radiate heat like a furnace. But the real punishment? The food, or lack of it. Prisoners here are fed so little that starvation becomes part of the daily routine. Malnourished and dehydrated, they collapse under their own weight. Their cries aren't from pain anymore. They're from weakness, despair, and the slow death of hope. It's not about survival. It's about how long your body can hold out before it gives up. Many prisoners were once strong. Some even survived the monsters on level 2. But this level breaks them differently. Hunger dulls the mind, and the heat strips away the last bits of willpower. The floor of level 3 is unstable, with sections collapsing into the level below. Not that anyone has strength to explore. Those who endure long enough might be dragged down into level 4, though surviving here is already a curse. Level 4. Blazing Hell. Level 4 of Impel Down is called Blazing Hell, and it's exactly what it sounds like. Imagine living inside a giant industrial oven. The air is thick with smoke, the heat is unbearable, and the entire level is one giant pressure cooker. Boiling blood flows through massive underground pipes, heating every corner of the level to near-death temperatures. This is where the more notorious criminals are kept, not just because they're dangerous, but because this level is designed to torture them constantly. Prisoners are burned by the scorching floor, sweat themselves into delirium, and are sometimes boiled alive if they get too close to the pipes. Guards wear heat-resistant suits, but even they can't stay long without suffering. And yet, somehow, prisoners are expected to survive here. There's no rest, just the slow roasting of the flesh, the screams of the burned, and the bubbling sound of agony. This level is also where the prison's kitchen is located, ironically, but don't expect gourmet meals. The heat is used to cook both food and spirits. At the heart of this level lies the stairway down to level 5, but stepping into that darkness means entering a different kind of hell entirely. Level 5. Freezing Hell. Level 5 of Impel Down, the Freezing Hell, is where the worst of the worst are buried alive in ice. Only prisoners with bounties over 100 million berries end up here. The temperature is deadly, breathing hurts, your skin cracks. Most inmates freeze solid before they can even think of escape. This is where pain slows down and turns into quiet death. But the cold isn't your only enemy. This level is home to the infamous demon wolves, savage, bloodthirsty creatures that were once part of Level 2 security force. Originally used to hunt prisoners, they became uncontrollable. These beasts didn't just attack inmates, they started hunting the other monsters of Level 2, including the powerful Sphinx. They tore through anything that moved, ignoring commands and causing chaos. Their ferocity left the staff no choice. The wolves were exiled to Level 5, where only the cold could possibly tame them. Now they roam freely in the blizzards, howling across frozen corridors. They don't need cages, the cold keeps them angry, and the darkness hides their approach. In Level 5, you're not just trying to survive the freeze, you're trying not to become the wolves' next toy. Level 5.5, Nukama Land. Hidden between the frozen corridors of Level 5 lies a place that shouldn't exist. Level 5.5, Nukama Land. This secret paradise was carved out by the revolutionary Morley, using their powers to create a hidden pocket between levels. It's not part of Impel Down's design, and that's the point. This is a sanctuary built on rebellion. Here, prisoners who managed to escape the frozen cells above found something unheard of. Warmth, food, and freedom. No chains, no guards, just music, dancing, and open hearts. The Nukama, followers of Emporio Ivankov, turned this underground cavern into a thriving queer utopia. Laughter echoes instead of screams, and makeup brushes have replaced weapons. But don't be fooled, this place isn't soft. It's filled with warriors, revolutionaries, and hardened inmates who refuse to break. They escaped hell not through violence, but through unity and defiance. Ivankov rules this land like a glamorous queen, and the residents are fiercely loyal. They train, recover, and prepare. Some wait for rescue, others simply live free for the first time. Level 5.5 is the heart of hope in a prison built on despair, and it beats louder than any chain. Level 6, Eternal Hell. Level 6, Eternal Hell. This is where history is erased. The world government doesn't just lock people up here, it deletes them. The criminals in this level are too powerful, too notorious to be known. No trials, no headlines, just darkness. If you're sent to Level 6, the world acts like you never existed. This is where they hid Porcus D. Ace, the son of the Pirate King, before his public execution. Jinbei, once a warlord, was thrown here for refusing to fight against Whitebeard. Crocodile, stripped of power after his fallen Alabasta, was buried in the dark. The cells are spaced out. Voices don't carry. Hope dies in isolation. Light doesn't reach this far, and the silence is so thick it feels like part of the architecture. But when the prison collapsed into chaos, these sleeping giants stirred. Some broke free. Level 6 was never meant to be seen, but when its doors opened, the world learned what kind of monsters it tried to forget.